Are you there? Okay, this is a second video on environmental systems on my place. If you look right here at my feet, you'll see this grass. That's called a grass burr or a sand burr. You can see these things are stickers. They really hurt, but when they get wet, they're not so bad. But they are all over. You can see they grow from a grass. I'm going to pull it up. You can see how it kind of spreads. See how huge this thing is. It spreads. All of these things spread. This is an annual grass, and each one of these little stickers can turn into a grass that will produce like that. You can see I have a lot of those growing. Not as many this year as there were in years past. This whole area where I'm standing used to be nothing but these grass burrs. But I try to pull them up and take them to the dumpster, so then the seeds and everything leave the place. These seeds, even though this is pulled, this is green, these will go ahead and probably mature and turn into an actual plant. That's the reason in order to really get rid of them, you have to eliminate the plant and the seeds, take them clear off the place. Otherwise, the seeds will mature and grow. They get in a little piece of dirt like this and they just grow. Here's another one you can see growing from all of these. They're growing from this one plant right here. You see they get pretty firmly rooted. And notice how that root system spreads out. You see the roots spreads out in the dirt. Shake the dirt off and look at all those roots. That's what keeps a plant alive, and it needs the soil and the nutrients in the soil to grow. And so everything is combined in a system. The rain we just had last night made it muddy, and water, so these plants will grow. Again, you can see the sow bugs, or roly-polies as they're called, around the base of these plants. There's one right there. Here's another grass burr. Here's another weed. These have little flowers on them, but they really help hold the soil. They have a long root, and they have a pretty little daisy-like flower that grows on those. I pull them when they're in the way, but otherwise I let them grow. Over here, you see some of those same plants that we had before. We have a yucca. We have a elm tree that I planted I transplanted that elm tree. I've got a whole row of them along here. Show the row of the elm trees along here. And then there's a second row there. I transplanted them. Most of them came from that big elm tree right there that you can see. Here's also another little plant. Has beautiful little flowers. Some of these plants with beautiful little flowers, though, turn into nasty thorns. And as we go up here a little bit, I'll show some a little bit later. This plant here is a thistle, Russian thistle. We commonly refer to them as tumbleweeds in this fall when they ripen. This turns kind of red. The little flowers appear on these stems, and then they have seeds, and then the wind blows and they tumble all across the prairie and scatter their seeds. You can see right there some asparagus I planted to try to, again, alter the environment and also produce something for us to eat. Here's some beautiful little flowers that I was telling you about. Then I want to show you a little flower that they're pretty. See how pretty that flower is? But I will show you how wicked they can be. They grow in a plant that's spread out. Oh, that's not the right one. Here, you see how this plant spreads out? It lays on the ground like this, the roots below my fingers. This is usually laying on the ground. You see how it's spread out? Beautiful little yellow flower. But look what those yellow flowers turn into. They turn into that seed pod. If you look very closely, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those things, and each one of them, you can break that apart. And this actually happens on nature on its own. These things break apart, and they, each one, there's one of them by itself. That's not a real good one, but it's a seed pod. Here's one that I've got separated here. This one is the one I want to show. Notice these thorns. Notice the shape of that. That's called a goat head. These are what stick you. And can you believe they come from a beautiful little flower like that, turn into a nasty sticker. And those you track into your house and they hurt. Again, the only way to get rid of these permanently is to pull the plant, take this, put it in a dumpster or burn them, because these, even though they're green, they could still go ahead and ripen. And you can see again what the seed pod looks like before individually. You can count them. There's 2 of these little thorns per seed pod. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Most of them have 5. Here's another one. You can see. But it's a miracle how a beautiful little flower can turn into a nasty sticker. So as you can see, everything works together in an environmental system. Everything depends on each other. We have the soil, we have the rocks. You can see rocks here, and the plants. All of these things work together in a system. And when we study a system, we take an area like this. This whole thing's a system. Some of it has been changed. I've changed some of it because I planted different plants. I've also changed the structure of the land because I put little ditches up to take the water where I want it. If I didn't do that, this would be a gully right through here, because you can see where the water runs right through there from the hill. And I have a ditch across there that I have made to alter the environment, to spread out the water so I have some green all around instead of just one small area of green next to the banks of a arroyo or a valley. And so we can change the environmental system for good, for our use, or we can litter it all up and make it ugly and nasty for other people. As a Boy Scout, I try to always pick up the trash, and nothing is more disheartening than to hike up on a big mountain, look down, and there's a bunch of beer cans. It is so disheartening to see that, or to see trash that people have scattered across this beautiful planet and these environmental systems. And every place we have different plants, we will have and animals that makes up an ecosystem or an environmental system. And each little niche, then each animal, each plant has its own environmental niche that depends on certain things. In these videos, I've showed the yucca, I've showed some of the plants, I've shown how the roots spread. And as we pull up a weed, let me show you how some of these weeds roots spread. You can see how they spread along a area. See how big that root is? And it's along this area where I've altered the environment for my asparagus. But these weeds get to growing there, and then they send out the roots a long ways to get moisture. And so sometimes this weed I pulled from way over here, but the roots were going way over here where the moisture comes down from the asparagus. So as you can see, these environmental systems and plants and animals and everything work together along with man for our benefit or for our detriment, but we can be the judge of that.